The most dangerous manager is not always the one who shouts. It is not always the manager who insults people in public. It is not always the manager everyone openly dislikes. Sometimes, the most toxic manager is the one everyone thinks is wonderful. They smile in meetings. They remember birthdays. They compliment people in front of senior leadership. They say things like, "My door is always open. We are a family. I only want what is best for the team." And yet, somehow, the people working closest to them feel confused, anxious, invisible, and constantly afraid of making mistakes. Nobody believes the employees, because the manager looks so nice. That is what makes this kind of manager dangerous. Their public image protects their private behavior. They do not need to shout when they can control the story. They do not need to attack you directly when they can make you question yourself. They do not need to fire you when they can slowly damage your confidence until you leave on your own. Today, we are going to expose the toxic manager everyone thinks is nice, how they operate, why intelligent employees struggle to explain what is happening, and how to protect your reputation, confidence, and career without becoming emotional or giving them evidence to use against you. This is your response code. Observe, document, clarify, contain, escalate. Let us begin. There are two versions of this manager, the public version and the private version. The public version is warm, supportive, professional, charming. They praise teamwork. They speak beautifully about leadership. They tell senior management how much they value their employees. But the private version appears when there are no witnesses. They change instructions and deny it. They criticize you vaguely. They exclude you from information. They make decisions without telling you, then blame you for not knowing. They praise your work privately, but take credit publicly. They act friendly one day and cold the next. They give opportunities to favorites. They create confusion, then judge you for being confused. And because the behavior is subtle, each individual incident looks too small to report. If you say, "My manager did not include me in an email," people may think you are overreacting. If you say, "My manager changed the deadline," people may call it a misunderstanding. If you say, "My manager speaks differently to me when nobody is around," they may ask whether you have proof. That is how the pattern survives. Each incident looks innocent, but together, they create an environment of control. Toxic managers often understand reputation better than leadership. They know who matters. They know when to smile. They know which employee is useful. They know which senior leader needs to be impressed. They know how to perform kindness when kindness benefits their image. Watch carefully. They may be extremely polite to people above them, friendly with employees who have influence, generous when there is an audience, supportive when the support will be noticed. But behind closed doors, they may dismiss, manipulate, isolate, or undermine the people who cannot improve their status. This is not kindness. It is strategic behavior. Real kindness is consistent. It does not disappear when there are no witnesses. Real leadership is not measured by how someone treats powerful people. It is measured by how they treat people who cannot reward them. The manager everyone thinks is nice survives because outsiders judge the performance. Employees experience the pattern. One of the strongest weapons of a covertly toxic manager is confusion. A healthy manager makes expectations clearer over time. A toxic manager keeps expectations unstable. On Monday they say, "Take initiative. You do not need to ask me about everything." So on Tuesday, you make a decision. Then they say, "Why did you do this without checking with me?" The next time, you ask for approval. They respond, "You need to become more independent." You cannot win because the standard changes depending on what allows them to criticize you. This creates a psychological trap. You stop focusing on the work. You start focusing on predicting the manager. What mood are they in? Should I ask? Should I wait? Will they say I am too slow? Will they say I acted without permission? Your performance declines because your attention is no longer on excellence. It is on emotional survival. Then the manager points to your reduced confidence as evidence that you are not capable. This is why clarity is not a small issue. Clarity is protection. A toxic manager rarely gives feedback you can easily correct. They say, "You need to improve your attitude. You are not being strategic. You need to show more leadership." People have concerns. You are not communicating well. Notice what is missing. Who has concerns? What happened? When did it happen? What specifically should change? Vague criticism creates fear without providing direction. It allows the manager to keep you permanently insecure. You cannot solve an accusation with no details, so you begin overworking, over-explaining, trying harder, becoming more agreeable. But because the criticism was never designed to help you improve, nothing you do is enough. The correct response is not emotional defense. It is calm specificity. Say, "Could you give me one specific example of the behavior you would like me to change?" Then stay silent. If they say, "It is just a general feeling," respond, "I want to improve, but I need an observable example so I can take the right action." If they say, "Several people have mentioned it," respond, "Could you clarify the situation, the impact, and what a better response would have looked like?" Do not argue with fog. Ask for details. Specificity weakens manipulation. This manager may sound casual before delivering something damaging. They call you into the office smiling. They say, "Do not worry, this is just a friendly conversation." Then they begin making serious accusations. Or they say, "I am telling you this because I care about you." Then they attack your character. Or, "Between you and me." Then they pressure you to agree with something inappropriate. The friendly tone lowers your defenses. You begin responding informally. You speak emotionally. You reveal too much. Later, the manager presents the conversation differently. This is why you must respond to the content, not the tone. A smile does not make a conversation harmless. The phrase "off the record" does not protect you. A friendly voice does not mean there will be no consequences. When the topic becomes serious, slow down. Take notes. Ask questions. Say, "I want to make sure I understand correctly. Is this formal feedback?" Or, "Would you like me to take any specific action following this conversation?" Or, "I would like to summarize this discussion by email so we are aligned." The nice manager may dislike this, because informal control depends on conversations leaving no record. Many toxic managers divide the team. One employee receives information early. Another is excluded. One person is praised constantly. Another person's work is ignored. One employee can make mistakes without consequences. Another is watched closely. The manager may tell different stories to different people. To you, they say, "I am worried about Sarah's performance." To Sarah, they say, "I feel you are the only person I can trust." Then both employees begin competing for safety. This is called triangulation. Instead of team members communicating directly, every relationship passes through the manager. The manager becomes the source of information, approval, and conflict. The team becomes fragmented. Nobody compares experiences. Nobody feels safe. Everyone tries to remain the favorite. Do not participate. If your manager says, "Your colleague is unhappy with you," respond, "I would be happy to speak with them directly so we can resolve it." If they say, "Do not tell them I mentioned it," respond carefully. "I would rather address concerns through a clear and professional process." Do not accept secret criticism as fact. Do not attack coworkers based on second-hand information. A divided team is easier to control. A communicating team is harder to manipulate. The toxic manager everyone thinks is nice often has a special talent. Success moves upward. Failure moves downward. When your project succeeds, they say, "I guided the team through this." When something goes wrong, they say, "I gave clear instructions. but unfortunately, they were not followed. In meetings, they present your ideas as their own. They may say, "We developed this strategy," when you were the person who developed it. But when senior leadership asks about a problem, suddenly the language changes. "They handled that. I was not aware. That decision was made at their level." This is why your work needs visibility. Not arrogant visibility, professional visibility. Send concise progress updates. Include relevant stakeholders when appropriate. Keep versions of your work. Document decisions. After meetings, write, "To confirm today's agreement, I will complete A by Thursday, while the manager will approve B before implementation." This is not paranoia. It is operational clarity. Never assume good work will always speak for itself. In political environments, undocumented work can be rewritten. Imagine your manager tells you verbally, "Do not send the report yet." 2 days later, senior leadership asks why the report was delayed. Your manager says, "I never told you to hold it." You are shocked. You remember the conversation clearly, but you have no evidence. So you say, "But you told me." The manager looks calm. You look emotional. Now the discussion is not about the report. It is about your credibility. This is why emotional reactions are dangerous with covert managers. They remain composed because they prepared for the moment. You become emotional because you did not know you were in a game. Do not debate memory. Move toward systems. After verbal instructions, send a short confirmation. "Thank you for the discussion. As agreed, I will hold the report until I receive your approval." If they correct you, excellent. Now the instruction is clear. If they do not correct you, you have a record. Documentation is not aggression. It is memory, with a timestamp. One of the biggest mistakes employees make is confronting the manager's personality. They say, "You are manipulative. You are toxic. You are a narcissist. You treat me differently when nobody is around." Even when the accusation is true, it is strategically weak. Why? Because personality is difficult to prove. Behavior is easier. Do not report, "My manager is toxic." Report, "On May 3rd, I was instructed to submit the document without approval. On May 5th, I was criticized for submitting without approval. I requested clarification by email but did not receive a response." Do not say, "They are trying to destroy my confidence." Say, "I have received repeated feedback that does not include examples, measurable expectations, or an improvement plan. I have requested clarification on 3 occasions." Do not say, "They exclude me because they dislike me." Say, "I was not included in 4 project meetings directly related to my responsibilities, which resulted in missed information and duplicated work." Facts travel further than labels. You may not be able to leave immediately. You may need the salary. The market may be difficult. You may be waiting for another opportunity. So your goal is not to defeat the manager. Your goal is containment. Reduce unnecessary access. Do not tell them everything about your personal life. Do not reveal every fear. Do not discuss coworkers emotionally. Do not share career plans too early. Do not use them as a therapist. Keep communication professional, brief, clear, predictable. This manager may collect personal information and later use it to explain your performance. You mention family stress. Later they say, "She has personal problems." You mention that you feel exhausted. Later they say, "He cannot handle pressure." You mention another job opportunity. Suddenly, you are excluded from long-term projects. Professional warmth is enough. You do not need emotional intimacy with your manager. The manager may create small provocations. They interrupt you. Ignore your message. Praise everyone except you. Change the schedule at the last minute. Make a sarcastic comment. Your instinct is to react, to expose them, to send a long email, to tell everyone what they are really like. Do not give them the emotional scene they need. The nice manager wins when you become the person who looks difficult. Pause. Ask, What outcome do I want? Not, how do I prove they are wrong? If they make a sarcastic comment, say, could you clarify what you mean by that? If they interrupt repeatedly, say, I will finish this point, then I am happy to hear your view. If they exclude you from a relevant meeting, say, to complete my responsibilities effectively, please include me in future meetings concerning this project. If they give contradictory instructions, say, which instruction should I prioritize? Short language is powerful. Long emotional explanations create material that can be edited, forwarded, or misrepresented. You do not need to start a campaign against the manager. You do not need to convince everyone that they are terrible. That can make you look political. Instead, build professional witnesses. Communicate in shared channels. Confirm decisions in meetings. Ask clear questions in front of relevant people. Provide updates to the right stakeholders. Let the pattern become visible naturally. There is a major difference between gossip and documentation. Gossip says, do you know what this manager did to me? Documentation says, here is what was agreed, what changed, and the impact on the work. One weakens your credibility. The other strengthens it. Not every difficult manager requires formal escalation, but some situations do. Escalate when there is a repeated pattern involving retaliation, discrimination, harassment, threats, falsified information, unsafe practices, serious ethical violations, or damage to your career that cannot be corrected directly. Before escalating, organize the facts. Create a timeline. Include dates, instructions, witnesses, emails, the impact on work, the steps you took to resolve the issue, and the outcome you are requesting. Do not enter the meeting saying, I need someone to understand how horrible this feels. Say, I would like support establishing clear reporting lines, documented expectations, and protection from retaliation. A good escalation is not only a complaint. It contains a reasonable solution. Sometimes the organization already knows. The manager has a history. People have left. Complaints have been made. But the manager produces results, has powerful relationships, or protects senior leaders from problems. In those cases, the issue may not be one person. It may be the system. You need to recognize this early. Because you can waste years trying to prove something the organization has chosen not to see. If you document carefully, communicate professionally, ask for support, and the pattern continues, begin preparing your exit. Quietly improve your skills. Strengthen your professional network. Update your resume. Collect evidence of achievements. Apply strategically. Do not threaten to leave. Do not announce your plans. Do not wait until your confidence is destroyed. Leaving a toxic manager is not failure. Sometimes leaving is the most intelligent response available. When you are dealing with the toxic manager everyone thinks is nice, remember, observe. Look for patterns, not isolated moments. Document. Confirm instructions, deadlines, decisions, and changes. Clarify. Ask for examples, expectations, and measurable outcomes. Contain. Limit emotional access and keep communication professional. Escalate. Use facts, timelines, impact, and a clear requested solution. And never forget this. A person can be pleasant without being safe. A manager can smile while undermining you. A leader can use kind words while creating fear. Do not judge leadership by charm. Judge it by consistency, clarity, accountability, and what happens to people who work closely with them. The toxic manager's greatest protection is the difference between how they look and how they make you feel. Your protection is refusing to fight them emotionally. You do not need to expose their personality. You need to make the pattern visible, calmly, professionally, repeatedly. Because when facts are organized, confusion loses its power. When instructions are documented, denial becomes harder. And when you stop seeking approval from someone who benefits from keeping you insecure, you begin to recover your confidence. You are not too sensitive. You are not imagining everything. But you must respond strategically, not emotionally. That is the response code. Do not fight the image. Document the pattern.